reality. But what I loved about the 90's, man, what I love about the 90's is that the onus was truly placed on the team's ultimate superstar to determine their level of success and how far they would go. Now that was always the case in years past, decades past, but the 90's is like that onus, it went up another level. So therefore, when you tune in and watch the finals, like in 1991, Magic against Michael, 1992, Clyde against Jordan, 1993, Sir Charles versus Jordan, and then 1994. Although they weren't two expansion teams, but nonetheless, New York Knicks versus Houston Rockets, Ewing versus Olajuwon, 1995, Shaquille O'Neal versus Akeem Olajuwon, and then Penny Hardaway versus Clyde Drexler. In 1996, Jordan and Pippen versus the Glove, Gary Payton and Sean Kemp. Then 1997, 1998, Michael Jordan and Pippen versus Karl Malone and John Stockton. So what I'm saying is, and then a lot of the veteran teams like Utah was a perennial playoff contender starting in the late 80's. But it was always one team in the West who was just a little bit better, or one player better than Utah. But Utah was right there winning 55, 56 games a year. And then they took it up another level, they with Jeff Hornacek, and they had Brian Russell, people like that, and Antoine Carr. They brought him in to really solidify their second unit. And then you had Greg Foster, Greg Ostertag manning the middle at the center position, and they went to the finals, in consecutive seasons in 1997, 1998. But what I loved about the 90's basketball, like I said, I don't downgrade eras. I despise the super team era because it devalued competition. But I would never sit here and say that the 2010s didn't have talent. That's not even the issue or the beef that I had. It was about franchise level players, two top five players and the top 10 players joining forces. You never seen that in decades past. Showtime didn't have two. They didn't have like two top 5 players and a top 10 player. Because as talented